Hey everyone, my name is Rooster, and welcome back to Mechabellum. Today I'll be playing up against Glasboten, who I believe is Swedish. At least I think his name is Swedish for something like ice cream truck. Do correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but I know I said in the previous video that I would show you guys the finals of the EU Weekend Tournament, which I will do, but I'll probably leave it for tomorrow because I wanted to get some variety of gameplay in. So this is just a regular ladder match. Now, my opponent is a very strong player, 2.2k MMR thereabouts, so about as high as you can get. And, well, I decided to pick up a Sabertooth Specialist here with Fangs and Steel Balls. Now, my original idea was to play some Fang carry, but after seeing my opponent start, I really wasn't feeling too confident there with the Amplify Specialist and the Spiders. So instead of going for Fang carry, I decided to play more defensively. And, well, you can see here, I'll be going in the middle as I wanted to try and kind of make sure my steel balls could go to either side, because with this building setup, my opponent can push either way. He can push into my small turret here, which is not too scary. He can also push on the right where there's no wall. And since I'm not entirely sure where he will be, I decided to go for something like this. Fangs behind the towers, one here beside the anti-armor cannon to hopefully defend it somewhat. And then I buy two arc lights, one on the inside to help out my building, and then one here all the way on the left, because I wasn't really sure about full stacking right side. I maybe should have done so because I do have a chaff clear turret here already, but hey, I mean, at least we have some defenses on the left moving forward. So as you can see, most of my steel balls do end up going in the right direction, but sadly my arc light gets stuck on one of the spiders halfway through the round, and that means that the steel balls are killing crawlers and my arc light is trying to kill an amplify core or small amplify core tarantula, which really isn't ideal. So round 1 is an absolute unmitigated disaster, and yeah, we can go into round 2 and then hopefully stabilize this quickly, because even though I have 5.2k hit points, taking 700 on round 1 was not exactly what I was hoping for. Really good round here for Glasboten, and that sends us into round number 2, where there is a deployment module. That could be worth picking up here. Electromagnetic Impact gets picked up by Glasboten. I did talk about this in a previous video of mine. It's a strong spell with a short cooldown. It gets a lot of value later on in the game, so picking it up early if you have already like a round in mind that you can pay for anyway is not a bad thing. I was thinking about going for it, but taking the deployment module here just seemed really good to me. I can move one of the steel balls more so on the right side to hopefully help out that arc light that was getting stuck. And yeah, also bundle them up, you know, a bit less. Later on, I'll likely end up selling the steel balls, but for now, I'm happy to just keep them, and, you know, hopefully they'll be able to lock on and kill some of these units. I also sell one of my small turrets. I didn't think he would try and push the left side here because I already have the Fang, I have the wall. He doesn't know that the turret's gonna be gone. So I'm happy to start selling and kind of get that field recovery going, because as I said, I will likely be selling out of my steel balls as well and try to repurpose those resources into something else. Now, I go for double saber on round 2, kind of bluffing that he won't go air because he has marksman, and either way I have some fangs that might be able to help me out with that. And yeah, I buy kind of the main counter to spider here, which is saber. And keep in mind, I am a Sabertooth Specialist, so, you know, I will have access to cheaper techs in the long run, so going for a saber-based comp makes a lot of sense here. And you can see immediately we've done a good job of recovering. The arc light has been freed up. It's able to kill the remainder of the fangs, and we will be able to immediately bounce back on round 2 and deal a significant amount of damage as well. Happy about this, how this has gone so far. Round number 3, we get access to a Sabertooth from our specialist, so we're now up to 3 sabers, and things are looking quite good. Here, Rhino Assault could be worth thinking about. There are some openings in the back, even though the fangs will distract, the Rhino would eventually get in. So I do decide to pick that. And now I'm thinking, should I perhaps try and punish this left side? I have a saber available, and to be honest, I don't need a third one on this side of the field. So why not just put it on the line, try and distract those fangs from blocking the tower, and try to go for a tower debuff. I can also sell a steel ball here if I want to and retrieve the deployment module, but maybe I just want to keep it for one more round, sell it next round, and then retrieve this saber tooth that is now going to be on the line. Looks like I do move the steel ball. Also kind of trying to preempt perhaps my opponent going for a deep rhino flank. And it should add some more pressure onto that left side. More crawlers being picked up here. I do need some more arc lights, which I will pick up. Now we're going to make sure that this saber has its own arc light and this saber has an arc light as well to help it out. It's nice to create these bundles, and then you kind of just, you know, make sure that you have some chaff layered between those pairings to make sure that you don't instantly die. Opponent goes for double Stormcaller, which is a great pickup. I do run Missile Interceptor though, and after seeing this, I was quite happy to pick it up because I felt like I was in a good spot here. If my opponent doesn't have Stormcallers, then, you know, the situation looks really good for me. I'm playing Sabers into Spiders, and this investment from my opponent is nullified. Considering it only is 100, I don't really mind paying that. We do get the debuff there, and we should be able to close out the round. Storms should do well normally, but of course the debuff helps us out tremendously, and it's a fantastic round 3 here. Tons of damage. Happy about how things are going so far. Now, round number 4, we get unit drops, and I didn't really know what I needed here. I needed some anti-air, so I guess the Phoenix would be the simple option. But yeah, Void Eyes here picked up for Glassbolton. Scary, scary unit to deal with. Sabers are not good into it at all. None of these units really are, to be honest. Phoenix, I guess, can kill them slowly but steadily since they can't shoot up. But I was a bit scared here about the Void Eyes, but hoping that I could maybe just overwhelm them. We do pick up the Phoenix. That way, at least, we have some anti-air and we don't have to worry too much about, you know, a Raiden or a boat showing up at some point and not being able to deal with it. Steel Ball gets sold here. The deployment module repurposed. This can be brought back to the main board, and we do go for Missile Interceptor. I'm stacking them here because of the Missile Interceptor. It's not the best or most efficient intercepting mechanic in the game, but it's cheap, and it definitely will do the job when it's 3-1 in terms of Sabers versus Stormcaller. I also arrange my arc lights here. It's a common thing that I will say. You see it on my opponent's board as well. Rule of thumb, try and range your main chaff gear unit on round 4. Before is doable too sometimes if you have the money without, you know, skipping some of the other necessities like DPS and chaff. But yeah, round 4 is usually a good rule of thumb. Both of us do go for it. Void Eyes now with Suppression Shot, which I still think is such a ridiculously cheap tech. I wouldn't mind seeing it getting nerfed because it is wild. Such a strong tech, no counterplay, and you can see here the Sabers are really struggling. Just the fact that they lose the range means they get slowed down. They have to move forward without being able to fight back, and it just buys the opponent so much time. And here you can see how much those storms are really doing once all of the Sabers are gone. None of my units are good at dealing with it. The Phoenixes died because the marksman outranged them, and I just plainly ran out of chaff. So looks like round number 4 will be going over to Glassbolton after the Void Eye pickup. Now, at this point, I was kind of thinking, should I just keep buying Sabers perhaps? Because I think I'm going to need range on my Sabers to have a shot at perhaps staying away from the Void Eyes. And, you know, again, I'm a Sabertooth specialist. I might see myself triple teching these at some point if I need double shots as well. And it seems like my opponent is, you know, pretty hellbound on using these tarantulas. He's made an investment, so I can say confidently that he's going to keep them around, so why not build more Sabers? You sell out of our other Steel Ball because at this point it's outscaled, it never leveled, there's no way it's going to do well into Void Eyes either, so no point in keeping it, and indeed, there we go, we have the range pickup. Now, bit of a mistake here from me, I don't look at the cards that well. Another EMP was picked up, and the EMP already off cooldown as well for Glassbolton, so he has 2 if he wants to use them. Looks like he'll maybe just use the 1 though, and pairs it up with an oil play. Also, I decided to go for some missiles, as there was an advanced missile device specialist offered. So we do deal a good amount of damage. We even take out a newly purchased spider, which I'm quite happy with. My arc lights are doing a good job, but everything here got EMP'd. I'm going to say that is just sloppy from me. I should have shielded every single time, and it probably would have, you know, gave us a lot better chance. I now had range, which of course got disabled, and yeah, it's hard to judge here what the round actually would have looked like if I did not forget to take the shield. So we take a little bit more damage, and now we're down to 3k hit points. Round number 6, more units show up. I wasn't too happy about any of these, if I'm being completely honest. Sledgehammer here, something to be said for. Farseer perhaps as well, as my anti-air isn't the best. I decided to sell out of my Phoenix and just repurpose them with Farseers at this point, because I felt like I did need some anti-air. In hindsight, I wonder if I should have gone perhaps into like Mustang here at some point. I'm not really addressing the Void Eyes that well. Granted, you know, there's 4 of them, but they're not too scary yet. Only level 2, but I don't have that many units on the board that are good into them. Farseer, though, with the range, do outrange them. So maybe we're going to be able to do something with that. I, again, moved my Saber with the deployment module and tried to insta-target this spider here on the left. I also pair a missile with it, a Farseer, an Arclight, and I kind of tried to turn the pressure back onto my opponent, who picked up the Fortress from the unit drop. This time around, we do shield, as another EMP is being used, and we block it, thankfully. Left side going well, but those Void Eyes reducing the range again, which means that we don't have that much DPS available to quickly dispatch of this spider. And the Fortress as well lives for a fair bit of time. I mean, just look at this. There's Void Eyes getting in the way, triple bodies, so even if one of them dies, you know, the other 2 are still there. They lower the range of my Sabers, and what I was hoping would be a good round ends up being another round lost with a significant amount of damage taken. I mean, this is going to send us to 2k, perhaps even below. Okay, just above. Not the end of the world, but we need to fix things here. Round number 7, some big spells offered. Lightning Storm as well as Incendiary Bomb. I decided to pick up the Lightning Storm because my opponent has a lot of small units, and that's exactly what Storm is good into. Plus, I have decent shield break with these Sabers. You can see here the triple tech comes through, double shot, because I could see the Fortress as well. So I really, really need the DPS. Unfortunately, we don't have the highest of levels on my Sabers. I do buy another one, only at level 1, because Elite here would have been an expensive button to click. My opponent doesn't go for the big spell, goes for the Incendiary Bomb instead. We'll be able to land it from the looks of things. My Rhino goes all the way in the back left, where there is a missile, and the Fortress now has range, so it likely won't do too much, but perhaps we can distract. Let's see how this goes. Storm, not doing too much just yet, but now that the shields are breaking, not quite. Perhaps not worth it there, as the expensive spell achieves about as much as the fire, perhaps even less. We do manage to at least win on the left side, but now I'm mostly left with, I mean, just Farseers really, and those marksmen with range are starting to get very, very scary. So now I have some concerns about the Void Eyes, as well as some concerns about the marksmen that are scaling. And none of my units can really contest those marksmen, apart from, you know, having perhaps more chaff. Round number 8, Scorpion, Fire Badger, Steel Ball, Rhino, all offered. Nothing here looks too amazing. I decided to go for the Fire Badger because I still have an oil play available. I can sell the other. And yeah, here we go. You could use that oil from the right side tower ourselves. I have picked up the second attack enhancement here because, again, I'm using mid-sized units. It's a good button to click regardless as the game goes late. And yeah, I'm trying to contest giants at this point with the Sabers. We move this Sabertooth again, this time around in this left side corner, trying to once more abuse the positioning, as I saw that my opponent didn't have any chaff in front of his units. So I'm hoping here to hit this Fortress, and well, looks like I get a bit of a 2-for-1 as a spider shows up over there as well. Another missile gets used, hoping that this should clear the crawlers. It hits some steel balls. Sabertooth able to take out a Fortress there. We'll end up dying, though, to the steel balls that Glass Bolton picked up. But this looks like a fantastic round number 8, as we finally will manage to deal some damage. Now, Glass Bolton was quite healthy, but I mean, look at this. Mass Sabers able to get it done, and a boatload of damage goes through. Round number 9, advanced shield device here is offered. I'm happy to pick it up because it does apply to existing shields that you purchased. And I mean, with all of the electromagnetic impact, I can definitely use the bonus. I decided to sell that badger there. And here, honestly, I should just try and buy more chaff gear. But instead of doing that, I double down even more into the sabers from the looks of things. Not entirely sure what I've purchased. Looks like I'm a little bit unsure what to do. It is indeed going to be more sabers. But I don't think that's the correct way to go here. My opponent uses the oil themselves, buys more fortresses, and gets the double enhancements, and loose formation now gets picked up. And so this is why I'm saying I don't think this was the correct round. I should have known that I already had enough sabers on the board, and I should have perhaps started going into Mustang, which I also mentioned earlier as a potential avenue when we went into the farseers. So as you can see now, my arc lights kind of get stuck, and it buys my opponent a ton of extra time, as the void eyes now with the range again are really, really annoying. And this does not look too good on round number 9. Thankfully, though, it doesn't seem like we'll die, although we're good down to 212. Maybe we can rectify our mistake here by going into, I guess it would have to be Mustang. Underground threat picked up for Glass Bolton, picked up for me as well. I thought about going for a play perhaps in the back here with either Replicate or something of the sort. And now I'm thinking, do I go into Fire Badger or do I go into Mustang? I was thinking, since I have the Fire Badgers unlocked, maybe it's cheaper to try and go for Fire Badgers with range and napalm. But then I found out that I'm not running it currently, so the napalm line is not possible. That's what you'll see me do here. I first go for Mustang, realize, ooh, I mean, it's a bit expensive, but I do think I need the level 2s. What about napalm? Figure out that I don't have it, so we just go back to the Mustang idea. I do need level 2s, I'm pretty sure here, but it leaves us with, you know, few resources to do anything else. We do take the temp range, obviously. I don't have money to go for Replicate, so I decided to go for Mech Rage on the crawlers instead. Hoping that maybe that'll allow us to get in. And, well, let's see how that goes. Final round, the crawlers don't do too much. Perhaps if I went Replicate in the top right corner, we would have been able to do something. Sabertooth are starting to lock on, but those fortresses take a little more than a double shot to take out, and crawlers are still being an absolute pest. Most of my Mustangs have died. Right side is trying to hold strong, but the late fangs are too much. The debuff comes through, and on round 10, sadly, we do lose this game. Yeah, few too many sabers purchased, I think, on my end. We can try a couple of things here. I think round number 9 was one of them, where I bought more sabers for whatever reason, and it was really, really just not necessary for me to do that. So let's go over here and take the advanced shield. It's definitely time to loan at this point. The saber probably should go back. I don't know why I have a saber like right here. That's a little bit weird, but sure, I guess. And let's try to get into some Mustangs here, because Mustangs would be just rather useful to have on the board at this point of the game. And even if I don't win, you know, it's nice to have these long-term. Mustangs are great additions to the board later on. Let's make sure that we shield here. I do want to get these levels as much as possible. And perhaps we do a little missile over here. I mean, I think my opponent does shield, but it's worth a try. I guess we could also try and missile here in the middle and try to deal a little bit of extra damage there to our opponent. Pretty happy with this. Let's see how it goes. The EMP, of course, will get used. Looks like my opponent indeed does go for a bunch of crawlers. But at least now we've got the Mustangs set up. And I think I should have realized that I had plenty of sabers. All I needed now was to ensure that they actually could connect. We might still end up losing here, as, you know, it's a setup round, and you need a a few more Mustangs probably do a good job. Although, yeah, look at that. Already such an improved result compared to what the actual round looked like, which we lost heavily, right? I still end up losing because, I mean, these marksmen are scary, but at this point, I give myself a chance to get back into the game. Whereas on the final round, right, triple Mustang just isn't quite enough to deal with this amount of loose formation crawlers. Ideally, I would likely need 4, maybe 5, just to be able to take them down. But this way, I don't take, you know, the ton of damage that I took in reality, and I give myself a scaling chance, at least. I do think that Sabertooth Mustang here could have beaten this board. Now, another thing that we can try is see if we can get a debuff on the final round if I use my money a little bit more wisely. I think it's a far cry, but at that point, you know, I've already made the mistake of not going for Mustang on the previous turn, and maybe we just, you know, we go for a Hail Mary. So let's say I do take this, and then remember to grab Replicate. You have to go for this, and I mean, I don't think it's necessarily worth shielding at this point. I wonder if I could go for something like this. A crawler back here might not be that bad, now that I think about it, as it might allow me to distract most of these crawlers and kind of pull them back so that this crawler right here doesn't, like, block my saber. Could be an idea, but it would mean using a deployment. Perhaps I sell this, because I'm not convinced it's doing that much. I don't know why. I think I just forgot, like, to reposition it at some point. But let's see. I do need Mustangs, right? So that's kind of the tough part, again, of being corralled into this line. I would love to put something back there, but it's a little tricky. I kind of want to get the second defense enhancement here as well. I think I need to make sure that my Mustangs don't burn, because this oil could get lit on fire. Second defense enhancement would be kind of useful. Take the speed as well. And I'm thinking whether I should put this crawler back here or not. Tough choice. Perhaps we just try and kill some crawlers here in the middle, as isn't much chaff over there. Let's see how this works out. EMP did get picked up by the marksman, but this is a tough round regardless. Ooh, that saber positioning is not any good. Crawlers in the top right, though, do get things done. I mean, his chaff clear is not turning, so probably we should be able to get a debuff there. The question is how much of my army will be left by that point. We do get the debuff. Amit Saber had died, but look at that. Actually would have been able to win there with the debuff. I mean, unsurprising that a debuff has that type of effect this late in the game, but would have that been enough to kill? I think it might have. 1700. I don't think he had that many hit points left. If we go back to the replay, yeah, actually that would have been lethal. So I actually did think about this. I just didn't execute it well enough. I should have made sure that I had the Replicate immediately. Instead, I did a bunch of other things first, and then found out I had not enough money left. But yeah, that could have won us the game. I don't think that my comp was that strong. And I think we definitely made a mistake not going Mustang. But yeah, the card there, and abusing the fact that he doesn't have good chaff clear in that back corner, could have yielded us a win. So there we go. Anyway, if you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of it. And yeah, if you want to stay up to date with latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.